Hi, everybody. Carl the Prado, A to Z Business IT. Have you ever had a day where things just get really interesting? Well, today my live meeting was thrown off. I use a StreamYard service, and we were having a problem with. Unfortunately, the reason why we're late today, and you're going to get this as a recording as opposed to a live stream, unfortunately, is because StreamYard for some reason or another just decided not to share out the data. And so this can happen. And what we're going to do is we're going to roll with the punches. Things happen. And first of all, thank you for taking the time here, hoping to make this worth your while. And go in here. AI is such an interesting subject that's happening. And as we go on, you're going to see more and more going on in this space. So I think it's very important for businesses to start looking at AI as a way, as something that they need to do to look at, to understand, and to manage, just like any other technology that's there. Even if they're not currently using it, they should understand it because without that, you start to have some issues here. We're going to go through all of this today. So I'm going to sit here with my favorite beverage, which is a diet soda, and we're just going to have some fun. So a little bit about my company, A to Z Business IT. We are a cybersecurity company. We focus on security first because it's very hard to be productive if your environments are not secure. Very simple. We are out of Montrose, New York. We have clients all over the country, and this is really just making sure that clients are transparent with with everything that goes on. It sounds like such a silly thing to say, but a lot of people get confused with technology. They're not sure what they have or how to manage it. We try to make that very simple, make that very clear as far as what they need to do. And doing that, we can make sure that owners can sleep at night, making sure that everything that they worked at for wasn't lost with hitting the wrong click of a button. And so, a little bit about me. My name's Carl the Prado, passionate coffee drinker. It's a little after 12. I don't usually have coffee at this point, but if you caught me in the morning, we would have been having an espresso. I've been in the tech space for the last 30 years. Helped a lot of companies put together technology, and father of two kids. There's 12. I'm 15, and my son who's 12. So, are people interested in AI? Before I started this recording, I decided there's a service that I was looking at, Muckrack, and they had a free tool there that could basically look at that are trending in the last months. So I put in a few things that I look at. One was cybersecurity. Got like a little less than a million. It's 800, somewhere between three quarters of a million people are interested in those articles. So not a bad group. What was I going to say? Uh, Computers, very small number. I don't know if I put the numbers in correctly. The November elections, and I don't know exactly if it's in the millions because this doesn't really make that much sense. I don't really understand the scale of this. I'm going to be very honest with you. Put November elections since we're coming into an election year, and we're less than 45 days away from that. I thought that would be a very hot topic, and it's got a little bit of traction, but not as much as you would think. Microsoft, for some reason, came in pretty high. They were 8.5 million. But when we look at AI compared to the rest of them, as far as their articles and the strength of the articles, they're almost at you're looking at over 50 million views or interest in those particular articles. So, regardless of what the metric is, you can see that this is a very important subject for everybody. It's affecting everybody in dramatic ways. And telling a little bit about my own personal story, what started me on this is I started to realize that my clients, even the ones that did not want to use AI, they were interns and new associates and so forth. And what we're realizing is that these people were coming in using AI. And if we didn't learn to manage it correctly, we were going to have some issues with it. So, AI, which artificial intelligence, keep on using AI for short, which is a large language model. I'll get technical for a second, which is an offspring of machine learning, has really started to corner. And so AI, and I'm going to use that term, to those types of technologies, has a proposition in three areas. It increases employee, productivity and operational efficiencies, and it helps with the creation of innovative products and services. So going on here, but and as we're looking at the Godfather, or not the Godfather, the one that everybody knows of, and there are a lot of AI products out there, and there's going to be more in the next year. The big one that we're dealing with is ChatGPT. If those of you who remember the internet coming out, when we looked at the internet, there were really two big players in late 1990s, early 2000s. That was AOL and Yahoo. And so I don't know if ChatGPT will be the leader as we go later on into the 2020s. But right now, ChatGPT is the 800 pound in the room. And last year, it was able to pass the bar exam. And as of 2000, and as of this year, it's now more accurate than physicists. They did an exam. They did an Olympiad that was a questionnaire, and they were able to outdo the scientists. The physicists got 78%. ChatGPT chat into the 80s. So it's what does this mean? Most of us aren't physicists. What it does mean is the technology is getting smarter, and it is and more capable. And as of this week, some of it may not be today, but if you are using the paid version of chat, there is now something called Chat Advanced Search. And I'm going to show you how effective it is. I'm just going to go on Advanced Search for a second. And so I'm using the paid version of ChatGPT. It's not available currently for the free version. It's probably a reason why people should have a paid subscription. If you don't, I would strongly recommend it, especially in a business environment. I would think it'd be foolish not to. But on the ChatGPT, I think I can show this to you. I don't know if it's coming in as a black screen. Because I have the advanced, I have a little icon here. It's going to turn on.
What would you like to ask about turning? It sounds like you're discussing some features of ChatGPT.
Yes.
Are you
hello?
Hello. What's on your mind today?
Well,
how's it going?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Right now, I am doing a webinar, and I've invited you in here for a moment. We are talking about the new voice chat features on ChatGPT. Can you give us a couple of benefits that have happened with your new features? Thank you.
Direct engagement. It also opens up accessibility, allowing people who prefer speaking over typing or those with visual impairments to interact more easily. And lastly, it's great for multitasking. You can have a conversation while on the go or doing other things.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. If you need anything else, just let me know.
Okay. For those of you who weren't freaked out by the future being here today, that's the future. You can have a conversation. The reason why you heard a double.
It seems like you were wrapped.
I'm all done. Thank you.
Great. If you need anything else in the future, feel free to reach out. Take care.
So just like every new technology, sometimes it's not perfectly smooth as far as execution is concerned. But I think you can start to see how natural the speech is. And we are in the first few
It's true.
I just need to shut you up.
No worries.
Sorry, I just have to close it out. So still learning how to use the ChatGPT. Apparently was still listening in the background. This is that we'll learn how to manage in the next few weeks very confidently. But I did want to share with you how natural the conversation is. And it brings in also the fact that, dealing with all of these types of large language models, you really need to start to figure out how to manage these guys as far as agents. So we'll get into that in a second. But let me go into talking about 3 businesses that didn't react in time for technology. Because let's face it, some of us here are going to be saying, well, this is good for the other guy. But for me, I don't need this, or I don't, this, and you may be right. But I do want to share 3 different businesses that were affected dramatically. Best Buy, 2001, they were a monster. I forget how many locations, but you couldn't go into a single town. Not Best Buy, Blockbuster. We have an error here. Blockbuster. You couldn't go in a single town without a Blockbuster here. And happened was Netflix, Blockbuster said, hey, we would, could you buy our $50 million? We think we'd be good for you. And at that point, it was, I think, less than 0.5% of Blockbuster's total earnings. They told Netflix to go scratch. So what happened? We already know. Blockbuster started to realize Netflix beating them on late fees and all this other stuff. And by the time that they could react, they were out of business. Nokia, which had 50% of the market, really just failed to recognize the desires of the smartphones, and they have become a very marginal player. I don't even think they're still in the phone business. And Kodak, which was very slow to adapt digital photography. They were making all of their money in the film technology, but it ultimately ended up really ruining the company. It's not as great as it once was. So AI, let's start off with AI is not here to replace you or your employees, but people who know how to use AI effectively, they will replace those. So there's really, if you're still on this call, obviously you're looking at embracing it to enhance your skills and make you a better player. And I think you're in the right space for that. So, what we really need to obviously understand this some, so it's growing up. We really see it in almost every business is now applying it. You got into manufacturing and care, you're starting to see it help with diagnoses of disease, with transportation and shipping and logistics. You got it in legal. You've also got it in, law and accounting. It's all here. So, where AI is really enhances decision making and improves collaboration, and it works, and it helps augment this. Amazing as that voice chat was that I just gave, I just had with this chat GPT, can't do anything unless I interact with it. It's always going to be passive unless we set up some one way or another for it to take action. So, besides it being user friendly and easy to adapt and very scalable, I wanted to take a moment and just show you how I'm applying it right here into my own business, because who care, what was I going to say? Nice that, we're talking about it. What does this look like if I'm using this? So I'm going to take one section of it here. This is chat. This is my chat GPT section, and I hope you can see this. Just make sure I'm sharing on the right screen. Yep. Okay. So what you're going to notice, you have the regular chat GPT, and now they're really making sure that you're using the voice app. They're actually promoting that. And nothing special here. I mean, it's great. I mean, with GPT-4, using the paid version, you have the O1 preview. I think there's some limitations as far as how many more searches you have. You have the mini, you have more models. You're like, well, why would I need more models? Well, the lower models are for the people who are on the free plan. And also if you were using what we call API calls, where you're looking to put this in an application or something, you may not need it before as far as app. And what apps might you have? Well, you can have anything from a chat box to a virtual. These things can be built, could be using the chat GPT backend to develop those. And having smaller, different models, it allows it to be more affordable. Like the way that you with AI is you have these things that are called tokens, and so that's how everything is transferred. So a token really just, since we're talking about large language models, represents about 4 or 5 to create a token. And with if you hire ChatGPT 4, it's 3 million tokens that you get for, and on that, or 1 million tokens out. When you start to go to the chat mini, it's I think it's 1 million for $3, same ratio. So it's, instead of it being $15 for that block, it drops down to 1/5 of the price using the lower one. So in a lot of cases, most people don't need to be writing with the 4.0. They might be able to use a more inexpensive model, depending on what the results they're looking to do and what the application is doing. I know we're talking a little inside baseball here, but it's good to know that, all these models have to get paid for. And just like any other that you use, you need to know how it prices out. So over here on my left side, if you have the free version of ChatGPT, you're just going to get, you won't see any of this stuff bottom. All you're going to see is maybe a drop down, and sometimes you'll be able to get GPT-4. Other times you're going to get 3.5 or the mini, because it's a free version. The ChatGPT is trying to hook you in there. But let's look at some of the tools we got here. So I'm going to start with one that I've built out, which is called Study. Now, in my business, since we're a cybersecurity first pro company, a lot of people, I get calls 3 or 4 times a month saying, I just got an email. I'm not sure what it is. Is it good or bad? And we would go through the walkthroughs of how to train somebody and everything. And it's a very repetitive task. It's an important task because if they don't get it right, they could be a victim of a compromise. And we've had large millions and millions of dollars, basically because somebody couldn't detect whether an email was a phishing email or not. And in most cases, if somebody had just stopped for about 10, 15 seconds and had just asked themselves a couple of simple questions or had been trained correctly, they may have been able to stop that at that point. So, we have here is a couple of prompts built in. This is something I built here. So before we even put a question here, what are some of the signs of a fake social media account, like on Facebook? And so it's going to go into, spoofing, fewer no posts, no personal information, low quality, strange usernames, few friends, suspicious message, unsolicited, poor grammar, too good true, duplicate profiles. Now, all these things are pretty good. These are the things I would be going over with. Now, if you notice at the bottom here, because first thing, if anybody here in this group who's listening to this is an attorney, like, well, you've just given out advice, and if takes action and they don't have the right answer, they can come after you. Well, we have a disclaimer because this is really only for informational purposes only, and it's not professional advice because we won't have the relationship. But if you feel like you need some information, you can reach out to us, book some time. You can get on an email with us. We have no problem with that. We'd be happy to look at that situation, see what's going on. So this tool here does a couple of things for the end user. It's first of all, it's giving them information that's absolutely valuable to them at the moment that they need it very quickly without having to be embarrassed about it. They could just check it and we feel like we've asked this. And there really aren't, when it comes to cybersecurity, they're really stupid questions, but people still feel embarrassed. And so by using a tool like this, it gives them the ability to ask these questions. From our side, not only are we helping people and workload on important but non-necessary tasks or non-low value tasks, it also reinforces like, okay, if somebody does have an issue, call to in the next escalation. So it's really taking a little bit of a workload off of here. Now, I have a couple of other ones here I wanted to show you. This is one that we built up for a client. And what we do here is I'm going to upload pull this off the screen, upload a K report. It's in the downloads. Pull one up. Look at this. Okay, 10K. We got one right here. So we can open up this 10K here. We're going to upload it right in. And I put a couple of prompts here ready to go here for a client. This is for doing some basic financial reviews here so we can have it analyze it. I just did that. Okay, sometimes it's not perfect. This should be go ahead doing some live demos if you're still here. Appreciate it. We're just going to pop up a 10K for you in a second. There it is, 10K PTLR. Sorry about that. So I'm going to re-upload it. It didn't like the sequence I sent it in. So we're just going to re-upload this app, this particular 10K. So it's going to give me economic risk trends in here. It's all about dependent on government contracts, lengthy sales cycles, conclusion. Doesn't like some of this. Are there any M&A activities? Okay. Are there any? One of the reasons I got the computers is I don't spell, but it is chat. AI is already pulling it up and grabbing all of the M&A information that's going on here. So this is another tool that was created in there. So one of the things is you can build off that. If you don't like something here, you can actually work inside of the Chat GPT. You can have a GPT store. As a matter of fact, CyberBuddy is in the GPT store. Feel free to use it. I'll give you a link at the end here. But you've got stuff that's been created by ChatGPT, creative writing coach, coloring books, help you with that. Other tools here. And you also have productivity, research, and analysis. There's a lot going on inside of this chat. If we looked at instead of this one, if we went to another tool like Perplexity, we can then proceed to see some pretty amazing things it does. Perplexity, what's different with Perplexity and ChatGPT is ChatGPT, if you're using the free version, you can't get recent information because they hold back. They're not scraping all of the most recent information. Perplexity works a lot like Google, as far as the Google subject, but also has the functionality. So inside of this, let's take a look. If we had said we were talking the 10K was on PTLR. I'm going to put any news on PTLR to look at. So it's going to pull in there. It's got the stock price, performance, recent contracts, got $100 million to the U.S. Army for research, drive deals. So it's pulling up the K10 here. What's also nice about this is I can proceed to say, ask for citation. Me sources. We do have one, Oracle and Palantir. Microsoft is partnering with them. They win a contract with Maven Tools. And there are 5 sources that are right here that are coming through. Let's give you the actual spots that you can look at to see where they're grabbing the information. So this is one of many different types of tools that are out there that you can be using. And I know I've given you some different things to look at. one other tool that I'll just show you real quick is it's actually the tool that we're using right now today, which is my presentation tool. This is a company. This is a company called Gamma, and when we look at like this, if I back to the home now, I know nothing about. If I create a new one here, I could generate something here, and I could say, "Give me a review of PTLR," which is a company we're looking at, and let's see what it pulls up. It's going to call limitations. So it didn't like that, so I'm going to go back in here. And what did it call? We go back into Perplexity. Sorry. I'm going to pull this one up. Here's the article, and we're just going to bring it in. We're going to generate a little outline. I have transforming calc, and we're going to go pick a standard one. I'm just going to have it generate here. I don't know anything about this particular company, but what I look at here is that from a speed of productivity, to start here, it's already got slides here where I can change those out and put a timeline. It's already pulling out stuff from the network, from the paper that was given from that, and I've already got an 8-page presentation. So I don't show you this because obviously you're still going to need a person. Obviously, you're still going to need. I'm sorry I just realized I didn't share out my screen. So I just put in the link to Perplexity to Plantineer, and you can actually in this app that I'm going to do the slides for my particular presentation, how quickly it's creating a slide deck really right here. I don't know anything about this particular company, and it is quickly creating that. If I wanted to here, I could edit this. I could ask AI to continue to build out on this product. All of these pictures were generated through one of the image generators. So when I show you this, it's not really to say, oh, this is accurate, perfectly accurate. I really wouldn't be running with this initially. It still needs the human touch, but it certainly speeds up the presentation. So getting back to us, AI, there's some good and bad. AI can improve efficiency and productivity. The bad that you also need to look at, it can lead to not just discriminatory outcomes. Bad guys are using AI as well. As a matter of fact, earlier this year in Hong Kong, a bank rep was tricked into a $25 million wire transfer. Somebody on a Zoom call. What they found out was that the person that he was on the call was actually an AI generated image, a video. The other problem was that the other 4 people that he were on the call were also AI generated. So there were no real people when he did this. And so this is some of the processes that we're learning as we're growing up with the technologies, how to recognize good from the bad. The good AI is only going to get better. It's only going to get more sophisticated. So you need to start understanding this. So what are the next steps? I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to pitch you anything. I'm not here to sell you anything today. Maybe we will have something coming down, but the pipeline, but I wanted to just start with the next steps. What could you do today to start building out this? So I would say if you're not doing this right now, start spending 10 minutes a day with AI. Whether it's a ChatGPT, whether it's Perplexity, Claude, doesn't matter as long as you're getting one of them there. Some resources we wanted to give you here was to join our Facebook group. It's called Business AI Mastery Network. We're always sharing things that are going on. As a matter of fact, put this to that group. And the other part is I wanted to give you a link to iBuddy. It's here. And again, if you want some time with me to see how AI can fit into your business, feel free to book some time with me. All right. Well, that's about it today. I'm going to put all those links in the chat. Sorry for this not being the smoothest presentation that's out there. I hope that there was some value to you today for those who've stayed on. Love to connect with you, see how we can help you as far as that's concerned. Anyway, that said, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.